Hello and welcome to another live stream. It's me, Dina. You can't see my face yet, but that's because it's a live stream. So we have to wait until just a few extra people get here. Right now, all of my amazing patrons are getting that notification email and hopefully are reacting with such excitement to get down and dirty into whether or not we're on the right path as artists. Do we know what we're doing? Do we really? Or are we just kind of stabbing in the literal dark? Just drawing this or that, letting other people influence us without really thinking and taking the time to pause and really know that we're doing something good, something bad, and it's going to hurt our career or help us and create that thing that's going to take us to the next level. Are we ready for this conversation? We're going to get real emotional. I'm excited about it. What is up, LNC? Thank you for being the first person to talk in the chat. I mean, aside from Dawn, who was just like waiting 20 minutes ago. Like, Dean, are you going to go live yet? Like, I'm waiting. What are you doing? What's happening, girl? Guys, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate all of your patronage. And I'm very excited to talk to you. Hi, I am Dina from Lettershop, and this is a weekly Wednesday live stream where every single week I tackle a different topic based on the input that I get from both my followers on Instagram and my amazing supporters on Patreon. If you would like to get live access to these videos, be able to join the chat, ask personal questions, and get your work critiqued, definitely consider going ahead and joining us on my Patreon at patreon.com/lettershop for $7. And you get to hang out with me every single week, and you get bonus lettering workbooks that teach you a new style of hand lettering every month. Are we excited? Are we excited? Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? How is life? Everyone's coming in. I'm checking out my video, and it seems to be upset with me. YouTube! Why are you all stuttery? Am I like this? Fucking like, what? I want to have a real discussion with my followers. Is this what it's gonna be like? It's so hard to do live streams, guys. What's up, Sketch Dirt? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'm trying to see if it's just gonna be a few seconds or if it's gonna get over itself before we continue. This is real life. I'm watching the playback, and because I did all this stuff, I can't tell if I was actually stuttering or not. It seems to be getting better. All right. Just wanted to make sure before we had to like restart or something like that, because OBS. Bit. All right. Let's get into it. Oh, we officially have 10 viewers. I feel confident that we can get into today's topic. All right. Ellen's saying that we're good. That makes me happy. All right. Pulling up my notes. Today, how we can finally figure out how we're on the right path. I went ahead and I did a story shout out the other day, asking like a poll of questions like, hey, what are you guys struggling with this week? And I got a lot of really good answers. And typically when people tell me what they're struggling with, I like to always go with the most emotional response. It's usually from someone who's like totally fucking freaking out. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're just like grasping at branches, and they feel like they're falling off the fucking cliff, and they're just waiting to hold on to someone to make them stop falling. And it's those people that I'm like, all right, I got you, lady or man. Let's get into it. I'm excited. Okay. So before we get into any of this stuff, like whether we're on the right path, I literally have like a happiness checklist of these are the things that you should agree with if you're a happy artist. And if I also have a unhappiness checklist, it's like, if you're doing these things and you're feeling this way, you might be on the wrong path. And then I have some instructions later on in the live stream about how to get on the right path if you feel like you've totally fucking fallen off the bandwagon. But of course, before we get into this, I want to tell you a story. I want to connect with you. Okay, so from my perspective, if you guys don't know too much about me, I've been a full-time hand lettering artist doing freelance for the past 5 or 6 years. I've been a part of the design industry as a whole for the past 10. I originally was a graphic designer, kind of like a production monkey, just doing whatever the fuck people told me to do. staring at the same fonts and color choices from a brand over and over again, and I hated it. And then I realized that I had so much freedom when I was drawing, and drawing was something at the time, I'm talking like 2012, 2013, that I had just gotten back into. I had took like such a long break from it, and I always wanted to be an artist, but I ended up compromising what I wanted out of life because people kept telling me you can't make money doing it that way. So I ended up spending gobs of money on design school, working for amazing companies, when I was living back in Orlando. But it wasn't until I moved here to Portland about 5 or 6 years ago that I really was like, fuck this. I'm upset. I do not like my day job, and I really need to start taking actionable steps in order to eventually quit this job and just do whatever the fuck I want. And I had no idea what that looked like. I didn't know what kind of services I would offer. I didn't know if I would sell products. I had no idea what I was doing, but I needed to make a change, and I was desperately searching for how to do that. And over the years, I slowly figured it out, man. Through lots of trial and error. And I honestly, even though this is like year 6 of freelance, I still feel like I just figured it out. Like years of working with clients and, having an Instagram and marketing myself. And the whole time just feel like I'm totally flailing because anyone can give you their advice. Anyone can give you their story on how they got started in art and illustration, but that doesn't mean that's your path to art. And I feel like a lot of us get lost. And I say this a lot, but I repeat myself, but we tend to kind of be in an echo chamber when it comes to our work. We follow a lot of artists online on multiple different kinds of platforms, especially those within our niche. If you're a watercolor artist, you're probably going to follow a bunch of other watercolor artists. If you're a hand lettering artist like me, you probably follow all the big curated pages like Daily, right? Like Good Type and Daily Type and Type Gang and so many others. And then a shit ton of other lettering artists that you end up just kind of copying, and it's very monkey see, monkey do. You feel a certain amount of pressure to create and make new things. Your goals keep getting bigger and bigger. You eventually get things like imposter syndrome and shiny object syndrome, and you just end up feeling like your to-do list is just getting longer and longer, but you're not really getting anything done. I feel you. I've been there. And coming back to our topic at hand, which is whether or not we're on the right path, I think it's important that every week, every month, every quarter, something, you take time in your business or in your hobby that is art, and you think about, what the fuck are you doing? What is your whole plan with this? Do you even have a plan? Is what you're doing, does it feel good? Or do you feel like you're just compromising yourself again? Because that's something that we do a lot. We are following our dreams and we're trying to be, passionate and productive about our art, but we keep on compromising ourselves. It's like, oh, I want to be an artist, but the only thing people seem to want from me are logo design, so I guess I'll just do that. It's like, no! This is supposed to be your dream job, so it should literally consist of the work that you want to be doing more of, and that's really what you should be focusing on. And I really wish someone would have talked to me, little baby Dina, on, please, just do what you want, have your day job, that your bills are paid, you're good. So what you do in your spare time should be something that you 100% love, so you can create a life that you 100% love. So I've been struggling with this. I feel like I'm now just finding my voice as an artist. I've been getting more followers than I ever have. I've been getting more client inquiries than I've ever had. And I just feel really content and happy all the time. I'm one of those disgusting people who's happy, I know, but it took so long to get here, and I really just want to share as much information as I can in this crazy life that is being an artist with you guys, so hopefully you don't have to spend and waste thousands of dollars, and you have to waste thousands of hours of time, and I can just help you do this a hell of a lot faster than I was able to figure it out. So, are we ready for the happiness checklist? All right. Are you excited, guys? I know. Okay. All right. All right. There's no worse feeling than doing daily art just to feel stuck, right? Especially when you're making something new. If you find yourself, you got some low self-esteem. It's down in the dumps. Your motivation, it's fucking flickering. Some days you're like, some days you're like, It's very depressing. You're up and down. You feel like a crazy person. But there are fucking warning signs, right? That you're going in the wrong direction with your art. So throughout this live stream, let's go over our personal happy artist checklist to test you. to see if you're going in the wrong direction or not, right? And if you are, we're going to build ourselves back up and make a plan to create the art we always wanted to create, hopefully by using a couple examples from those of you that are in the live chat. And this is the only place that I give personal advice for this cheat is on Patreon. So just saying one more time, because I need your money to survive. But anyways, happiness checklist. Number 1. Is what you're doing something that gets you excited to work? Straight up. And I know people say this annoying shit like, are you excited to get out of bed in the morning? Which is so funny because like if you have a day job that you probably don't like really fucking love, you definitely do not want to get out of bed in the morning. But that's the first thing. Like if you are doing your own thing and you're doing personal work and you're not excited to make it, I feel like that's a really big alarm bell. Now, I don't want to confuse you with days that you just have really high anxiety, or maybe you're not feeling well, you're sick. And there is something called burnout that is a very real thing. And I definitely think you should be able to take breaks from all of these big chunks of work. But if you're noticing a pattern and every single day that you come to your desk or wherever the fuck you get your art done and you're just kind of dreading it, I think there's an issue. And you really need to be thinking, why am I dreading this? What kind of art could I be making that I could actually get excited about? Because me personally, yes, I do what I love as a living. And of course, a lot of the things that I do to be an artist isn't always drawing. And so I will fucking totally procrastinate on things like admin or returning emails or working on a client project. But when it comes down to the things that I'm choosing to do, that I'm not being paid to do, those are the things that I get really excited about. Like when I'm doing my Babe meme series, for example. I have so much fun doing these illustrations, guys. It's just like, it brings me so much happiness. And I just feel like I'm finally in a really, really good spot with my art. So hold on. There we go. I want to just go ahead and show you some of the stuff that I knew I just wasn't happy with. So if you go to my Instagram and in October of 2018, you start to see a really strong shift to, instead of it just being lettering, I'm starting to do these things called Babe meme, where I'm really just kind of mixing illustration with something that's a very vulnerable sentiment that I feel that usually comes from a very popular meme. This is something that has been working really well for me. I just did it as kind of like a crazy idea. I thought it'd be really fun, and now it's starting to take off and I'm starting to get more client work and really excited to be launching new posters with this kind of art on it. But if I'm scrolling down, right, let's get away from these amazing Babe memes. We start to see, like, okay, wait for it. Dina's showing a lot of client work. She's doing workbooks. Okay. But you don't really see a lot of personal work. I'm posting like old work again. It's mostly hand lettering, not doing a ton of illustration. And right about here, I'll show you a good spot in my history of Dina where I'm just like really not feeling it. And you can see progression, like all of a sudden all the color's gone. Everything's very black and white. I'm not really doing too much illustration, just like little doodles and stuff in the background. I'm starting to kind of come out of my cocoon, if you will, because I was doing all of these kind of hand-lettered phrases, and I wasn't really happy with them. I kept seeing all of these artists on Instagram, and they were doing all these like beautiful, positive, motivational phrases, and I really thought that was the kind of content I needed to be making in order to be popular. And yes, I got to work with good clients. I did a full sale ad campaign over here. Made some of my first products, did some personal commissions, doing a lot of logo designs. But logo design is actually one of the few things that I even enjoy as client work. And it was one of those things that I was just doing in order to pay the bills without really thinking about the kind of client work I wanted to be doing more of. And so not only is my style evolving throughout this point, like there's so many things wrong with this piece, for example. I just wanted to kind of like go back in time, and it's like you're going to figure out your shit as you evolve and get older. Your personality changes, you're growing up, you're constantly adding new meaning, and there's new priorities coming into your life. So of course your art is going to change as a result of your fucking personality changing. But you can kind of reach those goals so much quicker if you really just sit down and think, what can I be doing more of? what's the kind of work I'm really, really serious about doing, and how can I start attracting people to that work so I can do more of the work that I absolutely love, that I'm excited to do when I wake up in the morning. All right, that's just the first one. 2, you have subject matters and a train of thought repeated in your work. This is really important. Happiness checklist. It's you're the kind of person that knows what your art is about. You have a message behind the madness. You keep gravitating towards similar subject matters, whether it's about anxiety or they're funny puns, or like me, you're doing like an illustration babe series, and there's a train of thought that's repeated in your work over and over again. This is the biggest difference between seasoned professional illustrators and novices. When you're is that even a word, novices? When you're first starting out as an illustrator, you have no idea what the fuck you want to do. So of course you're going to try everything, and you should try everything. Try every service, every style until you figure out your style. Because over time, you're eventually going to pick out the bits that you love and get rid of the parts that you hate. Like, this is the way I like to do noses. This is the way I like to draw hair. This is the way I like to draw my characters. These are the lettering styles. Doing exactly what you should be. But if you've been doing this for longer than a year, longer than 2 years, maybe 5, and you still feel like you're all over the fucking place, it could mean that you just haven't found your voice yet as an artist. And you really need to be sitting down and thinking, what kinds of things are important to me? And also, something that's helped me and something that I've been talking a lot in my Instagram course over on Patreon is we really need to be combining more of the things we like in real life with the kind of art that we make. So that way we're using our unique perspectives and this amazing superpower called empathy in order to create art that matters, that attracts people. It's the kind of art where they say, me too, I relate to that. This is perfectly encapsulating everything that I feel and everything that I am and everything that I want to be. That's the kind of art that really resonates with people. So it's like, if you're all over the place and it's been a few years and you haven't really honed in on any one thing, it might be time to try out just doing one thing. And that's okay. Every single week, every single month, every season, a new challenge can arise or a new project prompt. And I want you to take advantage of these times to focus on just one thing. Focus on just one series at a time. Really try to find, what about you do you want to share with the world? It can be funny, it can be sad, it can just be totally fucking random, but it has to come from an honest place that is within yourself. And I know this sounds very like touchy-feely because we're fucking artists, man. I literally do not know how to talk about art if we don't talk about feelings, because it's such a huge part of what makes art good. So I really want us to start thinking about that. As a challenge, if you feel kind of scatterbrained, definitely start to think, what kind of projects could I be doing? What is something I could be focusing on? Maybe do a series in the next month, where you just do 10 pieces about this one thing. And if you really, really like that, keep going. But if you get bored, change it up, go to a different series. And that's really what all the major artists do. Ellen, you're so motivational. Thanks, that's totally the point. So I'm glad it's coming across. So let's get into 3, all right? Happiness checklist number 3. You get an accomplishment high from when you wrap up a project. There is a big difference between feeling good about finishing project and feeling relieved when you finish a project. If you're the kind of person that you're just like, like after you finish something for work, you're just like, God damn it, I hated doing that. Like every inch, every pixel being pushed, every piece of type being included was fucking painful. And so of course, when you're done, you're going to feel relieved. You're going to be like, oh, I'm so glad I never have to do that again. But the problem is, if you're doing the kind of projects that make you feel bad, it's only going to attract more of those kinds of projects. So you're literally in this vicious cycle of suckness, and you're never going to get off that fucking Ferris wheel until you start to make a change to the kind of art that you're presenting to the world. And that's okay to say no every once in a while. If there's a new project prompt that's really popular on Instagram and it doesn't fit within the lines of things you're trying to offer, don't fucking do it. If a client is coming into your inbox and they want you to do a project that is so far out of your comfort zone that you know it would be a hassle, that you know you wouldn't enjoy it, say no. So that way you can say yes to more of the really good opportunities. Because God forbid, you're so busy saying no to all these bullshit opportunities that you miss out and you're too busy for when a really big shark, a really amazing opportunity comes your way and you're too busy to take it. because you compromised your values even still to say yes to work that you fucking hate. So, again, accomplishment high. If you're feeling good, man, you finish that thing and there's a big difference between finishing something and then trying to seek validation online from finishing something. Two very different feelings. You need to be able to feel good about the art that you're making when you're done with it before you share it to the world, because you can confuse these two feelings as the same feeling. And I know a lot of artists that won't even make for the sake of making, for their own personal enjoyment, because they're so consumed with posting consistently online that we're totally fucked up our brains, and we're like, there's a big difference between posting the work and you just want to share with the world versus posting work that you think others will enjoy. And then that skews our perspective, because then you're making art for the wrong reasons. You're making art that you think is going to be popular. You're making art that you think is going to get a ton of likes, a lot of engagement, but you're not making artwork that's true to yourself. Because the secret is, once you start doing that kind of art, the likes will come. You will attract the exact audience of people you could be best friends with in real life. Those are the people you need to be talking to. So if you get unfollows and stuff from the kind of work that you are being true to yourself with, fuck them. They weren't the right audience for you in the first place, but you can't attract the right ones until you say goodbye and feel comfortable with getting unfollowed by the people who probably aren't going to pay you anyways. So, number 4, you crave. You absolutely are obsessed. You find the need to have someone to talk to about your art. Typically, if you feel embarrassed or you feel like your work isn't good enough, you are not going to want to share your art with anybody. You might be posting a couple things on Instagram so that way you can perfectly curate your art and what you're saying to the world and, what your brand image is. But when it comes to talking to people in the real world, it absolutely terrifies you. And a big piece of why that might be a little concerning, aside from just general social anxiety that we all fucking have, is you might feel like a total fraud. You might feel like you're doing the wrong thing and you're embarrassed to show your work because you know you're doing it the wrong way. And I say these examples because sometimes it's just like, you just feel anxious all the time. Like a lot of artists and illustrators just have general anxiety all the fucking time. And it's so hard. And it's to know the difference between the good anxiety and the bad anxiety, and the anxiety that we can control and the anxiety that we can't. So if you're living under a rock and you have no interest in creating a community or being part of an artistic community to share your thoughts, to get engaged, to be inspired, to just share yourself and your life with other like-minded individuals, there's a reason because of it. And if it is something outside of just general anxiety or whatever, then you really need to analyze that and think about what is preventing you from being around more of the kind of people that you need in your life that will support you, so that way you can feel good about the art that you're making. Okay, number 5. You would still make things for yourself whether or not you made money. This is actually a core value that I have with the kind of work that I decide to take on. And it's a part of my core values. If you go back in time on YouTube, there's a video called my 3 core values. And it's a big thing about how I ended up having to turn down a really nice job because it didn't align with my values, and how hard it was to give that woman a refund on her 50% deposit, even though I really needed it to pay my rent, because I've reached a point in my career where I need to be saying yes to more of the projects I want to be working on and saying no to the ones that just aren't going to work out, right? So I like to keep in mind that I really only want to work on projects for pay that I would do for free. The kind of projects that, if you're just starting out in your career, that you're excited about, and you don't even care if you see a dime from it because you're just so excited about the opportunity, whether or not it's to get more exposure from a brand, or it's just to have that perfect example of in your portfolio of a real thing that exists in the real world. That's the kind of way I want to feel forever. So I will always say no to a project if it's the kind of project that I know I'm going to end up hating, and I'm going to fucking resent that client. Because obviously, if you feel any sort of negative vibes with a client project, that client project is going to suffer. You're not going to do as good of a job as you normally would if you love the project. Of course, because we're such emotional creatures as artists, that totally fucking makes sense. right? So yes, I know you need to pay your bills. Yes, of course, take your feed your family, take the opportunities you need to in order to not be homeless. I get that. But if you're doing this the smart way and you haven't gone full-time freelance yet and you still have a day job, please use this time to moonlight in the freelancing world and only say yes to the projects that you would totally do for free. It'll completely change your portfolio and your 5-year plan of where you're going to be going in your career. Because by the time you are making money and you are able to make 80% of what you make at your day job in your freelance business, and you can feel comfortable quitting your job and going for it. A lot of the stuff we were talking about in last week's video about the checklist of whether or not you're ready to go full-time freelance or not. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. But we just need to set better boundaries for ourselves. So if you are compromising your values and you are working with the wrong kind of clients, you really need to take a step back and really think about whether or not that's the best move for you in the future, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. It really makes such a huge, huge impact. All right, number 6. We are still on the happiness checklist. We haven't got to the unhappiness checklist yet. Happiness checklist. Number 6. And this is a really important one. You lose time when you work because you are literally having too much fun. This is the sweet sauce, right? This is called flow. It's a state in which your brain can no longer interpret time. It'll literally turn off your need to eat, your need to go to the bathroom, your need to move an inch because you are so obsessed. You are so in the zone with whatever you're making. You're on your iPad, you're in your sketchbook, you're painting a mural, you're doing something where you're enjoying it so much. 3 hours goes by, 4 hours go by, 8 hours go by, and you don't even notice. This flow state is so hard to come by for creatives, and a lot of people say they're struck by inspiration when it happens. But anybody can create a flow state while they're working, but it's really, really hard if you're working on a project and you're painfully aware of how slowly time is going, and you are feeling awful about like, God, how fucking long is this project gonna take? 6 hours, 20 hours? And you're just like pessimistic and you're constantly looking for distraction on your phone or on social media or checking your email, and you just want to procrastinate to high heaven. Those are probably some of the bad signs. But if you're the kind of person, the kind of projects that you work on where you lose time, that is a huge flag to say that needs to be more of the projects that you work on a regular basis. So Dawn is saying in the chat, she gets so shy about sharing her work. This is how I kind of feel about sharing your work. Just to kind of go on a tangent before we get to the unhappiness checklist. Fuck it. That's really what I think about sharing your work, especially on places like Instagram. I mean, I'm going to keep talking about it because obviously I'm teaching a course on it, but also, come on, let's face it. Instagram's the one platform that all of the artists use, and we're all fucking mad about it. We all have fucking weird hangups about that platform. But I think it's worth it. You need to share as much as you feel comfortable with on Instagram. It's the kind of platform that you really need to be posting content regularly. I recommend a minimum of 3 times a week. I personally post 5 times a week, anywhere from 5 to 6, not including stories. But how I think of it as engagement on Instagram is so low. Like, you're lucky to have an average engagement of 3%. That is very low. So why do you care what 3% of your audience of people who are following are going to think about the thing you just posted? You could probably post that thing 5 more times, the exact same image verbatim, and still maybe not even half of your audience would see it. So why are we being so perfection minded when it comes to the work that we present in the world, when so often it's more so the message than the actual artistic aesthetic to the art that people enjoy the most? Because we're making such a huge mistake. We're in this echo chamber where we think that all of these other artists have their eyes on us. That's because we're not attracting normal people to our feeds. We want normal people to follow us because normal people are going to pay our bills. Artists don't need to hire other artists. They are not going to fucking pay you. Unless you're like me and you're selling educational content, then yes, of course, they're your demo. But for the most part, that's not what most artists are looking for. So why are you spending so much time to attract the complete wrong audience? And the audience that is going to be so critical of your work in the first place because they are your fellow peers. You can literally just jot down something in your own handwriting and it can get 1,000 likes and go viral. It has nothing to do with your technique. It has everything to do with your perspective. So we should be sharing more often on social media. We should be showing our process. We should be showing our fucking faces. We should be doing lifestyle photography. We should be comfortable reposting work that we made a month ago, because that engagement rate is so low. Who fucking cares? But the only way you're really going to be able to be successful in that platform is through consistency and just fucking banging out that content, just showing it. And instead of spending 6 hours moving every fucking pixel, making sure those Bezier handles are exactly where they need to be, fuck it. Just post what you make, enjoy the art of making, and that's how you know you're on the right track. Don't lose yourself in the details, because more than often, no one fucking cares. Victoria's coming in with, when I get anxious about posting something I made that I love, I show it to my mom first so she can tell me that it's incredible. Yeah, totally. Well, my issue with Instagram is that a lot of people treat it like they're showing their art to their mom, which I think is really funny, because they're seeking validation in order to feel good about themselves. But you need to be seeking internal validation, not external validation. External validation, you can't fucking control. And oftentimes, it's not even your artwork that sucks. It's the algorithm, or like no one was on Instagram that day, or you chose the wrong time to post, or maybe the website was down that day, or whatever. So like we get so wrapped up and just being like, hey mom, look what I made, that we sometimes forget like we should be talking to our users more like friends than family. Because when you're talking to your parents, you don't really talk a lot. You're all about the what, right? You're like, okay, this is what I made today. Look, mom. But on social media, what you should be saying is, this is how I made it. This is why I made it. Because that's so much more interesting, and I can connect more with that as a total fucking stranger than if you're just assuming I'm your best friend and I'm just going to obviously love everything you make. But I think that's really funny, Victoria, that if that's what you need to feel more comfortable posting on social media, fuck it. That's what moms are for, right? But again, we shouldn't be making art to be popular or famous. We should be making art because we literally can't imagine our lives not making art. That is really the big difference maker. Shanna's like, my mom's my biggest fan. I wish I could say that. I wish I could say my mom's my biggest fan, but I don't think she is, honestly. Not to dig on my mom. It's just she doesn't fully comprehend what I do, and she's never been able to really understand it because she's just not a technology person. So for me, like doing digital art and like, posting on Instagram, and a lot of my artwork now is like creating content for other people's web presence and that kind of thing. She's just like, she makes things. Dina draws stuff, sometimes it's letters. She doesn't fully get it, so I don't think she could fully appreciate it. But that's really great that your mom is like, #1 fan. I love it. Nancy, it sometimes takes me months to post something after I've made it. What? That frustrates me so much, guys. Nancy, you cannot be waiting months to post something for lots of reasons. A, your skills have probably gotten better from just a month of drawing. If you wait 2 months or 3 months, to me that's fucking embarrassing, because then I'm showing you content that isn't even relevant to the kind of stuff that I'm making now and probably doesn't make sense. Of course, this is different if you let's say you're working on a client project and you couldn't reveal it until it was published and it took months or a year for that client to finally use that art. That's a different story. Obviously, talk about your client work. But if it's just your personal work, post it. I mean, if your plan is to post it on social media, don't wait to do it. I feel like that's just going to hurt you rather than help you. All right, so let's move on to our unhappiness checklist. Thank you guys for chiming in during the live stream. It really makes this whole experience way better. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this in the future is like, that was really good insight about social media. I'm glad someone was in the live stream and mentioned it. Yeah, you should be in the live stream too, friend. Come hang out with me. Please be my friend on the internet. I'm so lonely. All right. Sometimes I talk and I'm like, what's water? I'm one of those weird people on YouTube, man, that just talks in front of a screen. No music. Because YouTube, you're not going to copy strike me. I just hang out with me and my community. I don't even care if other people watch this on YouTube. I mean, I hope it's helpful content. Like, I obviously only want to help people. And I don't ever expect any of my videos to get like a crazy amount of views, but I know that with a very specific audience, it's really going to hit home, and then the view time is going to go up, and you're going to watch every fucking minute of my hour-long lectures, and we're going to be best friends. Best friends. All right. Unhappiness checklist. Let's go. All right. You ready? Number 1. This is how you know you're unhappy as an artist and you're on the wrong path. You hate compliments because you feel like a fraud. There's a big difference between being like legit humble and being like fucking embarrassed when someone gives you a compliment. There's something wrong here. That's something wrong. You need to be only working on art that you're proud of. And feeling pride for me, and it took me so long to come to this conclusion and wrap my head around this thought, was I feel a lot of pride for the work that I create that I know has myself in it, that I know has a really strong core message. And I don't really care if like, oh, I, colored outside the lines in that one piece, or, oh, look, it's not centered, or fuck, I misspelled a word, or whatever. I don't feel that shame for making those mistakes. I'm just happy that I made the thing and it was about something that was important to me. That is a huge fucking game changer. If you can really just kind of, not exactly lowering your expectations with your work, but just kind of reframing it to the things that actually are important. Technique. Obviously, if you want to be working with clients, you need to be showcasing yourself as a professional, and your technique and your skills need to be up to par with industry standards. But nowadays, there's so many people that are popular that draw fucking stick figures. So I don't think that's true. Like, if you look at people like Timothy Goodman and Adam J.K. that both have a similar kind of handwriting style, what they make, honestly, anyone could make aesthetically. But what we're drawn to with these particular like Instagram influencers is what they have to say and the meaning behind their work and how much we connect to it. So it's like, if we can just find validation with ourselves just from the act of simply doing it versus feeling embarrassed when we get a compliment, how much that would change your perspective moving forward with your art, and how much more happiness you can find within yourself and eventually in your art with that perspective as well. Just gonna let that sink in for a second. All right. Unhappiness checklist 2. You always compare your work to others, so you end up copying them. Now, obviously, for the rest of your life, you're always going to compare yourself with other artists. Duh. They're everywhere. We're obsessed with them. There are people that I literally cannot talk about. They're just like my fucking Instagram nemesis. Seriously. Or I'm so fucking jealous of them. And I'm mad that, it was, for some reason or another, I'm just fucking jealous. That's just what it is, of course. But the difference is I end up copying them versus just letting them inspire me. If you're still at that part of your career where you have no original thought and you're literally just copying other people, if you're a lettering artist, you're stealing other people's quotes and you're making them as your own. To me, you're not fucking an artist. I'm sorry. Like, stop drawing bullshit motivational quotes and draw something from your own perspective. It can be a motivational quote. There's nothing wrong with positive messages. What I'm saying is try to use your own perspective. And I know that's hard, but it takes practice just like anything else. The first time you picked up that pencil, it sucked. I'm sure you put too much pressure and you broke your fucking pencil a few times. You got frustrated. You crumpled up a bunch of pieces of paper, but eventually you got better at it. Just like writing, just like captions, just like everything fucking else. So really, if you're unhappy with your work, it probably has something to do with the fact that it's not really your work. And you really just think about it. Yeah, Victoria, I love Adam J.K. because his authenticity, God, words are hard when you talk for an hour, guys. No, totally. I just listened to a podcast interview. I think, is it Closer and Closer? I don't know if that's right. I don't even know if that's the name of the podcast. I think that's just the name of an agency. I don't remember. But he was on this podcast, and he was just talking about his experience and his story, and how for so long he didn't even consider himself an artist. He thought of himself more as like a writer or something like that. And he got so popular so quickly because he was being authentic. He was sharing both bad quotes, good quotes, love quotes, heartbreak quotes, and everything in between. And human beings, we live on a spectrum of feelings and moments and people, and they change from day to day. So people can tell if you're sharing from your own experience or if you're just faking it until you make it. There is a huge difference. And again, if you're in the beginning, all this stuff is fine. You're doing exactly what you got to do just to practice and to get excited about drawing and to do your thing. It's a hobby. You love it. Awesome. But if you're wanting to take this up a notch, you're wanting to be a professional, you want to get paid for your art, you need to have a style. You need to have a message. You need to have a way, a thing that makes you stand out. Or you're just going to blend in like everybody else, like all the other sheeple. So, you're comparing yourself to other people's work. You end up fucking copying them in one way or another. Number 3, you're starting to feel stuck, right? And you fucking dread coming up with something new. Unhappiness checklist. Boop. You dread creating something new because you don't know what to make. And you don't know what to make because you don't have a perspective. And you don't have a perspective because you haven't tried to have a perspective. You spend 30 minutes just staring at a blank page and you don't know what to do. And the thing that no one tells you is you just have to make. You have to work through the shit. You have to crawl in the fucking gutter and you have to just make ugly shit. Because eventually, once you start, good stuff starts to come out. And sometimes you gotta, it's kind of like when you have a new faucet, when you have an old faucet in like a rusty home and you let that water run and it's gray and it's gross and it looks like literal shit is coming out of your sink. But then eventually it's clear and it's water and it's mostly drinkable. The same thing's for your art. So if you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what to make, just make anything. Make a fucking sexy clown. Make a robot dinosaur. Draw your family as aliens. I'm making a book right now that's 50 random prompts to draw for people that don't know what to draw. Definitely consider picking that up once it's ready in the end of the month. Just to have something to draw and you have no idea so that way you can get to the good stuff. Number 4. You avoid working and you procrastinate until the very last minute. Now, with me, with my business, I procrastinate all the fucking day long. But what I don't procrastinate on are the things that are important to me. The personal work, my Babe Meme series, my cannabis art poster series. The stuff that I just love to make, I am excited to make it. I want to work on that shit all day long. But to run a business, you unfortunately cannot do that all the time. You have admin, you have to do onboarding with new clients. I have all these students that I mentor and help with email coaching and weekly meetups and all this stuff. And I can't always do the thing that I want to do all the time. So I'm going to procrastinate on the side of my business that are less fun to do. But if you're not at that stage yet, and just the act of making freaks you the fuck out, and you've been doing this for a few years now, something's wrong. You're procrastinating on it because you don't want to fucking do it. Now, some people, they just like straight up work better with procrastination. And I agree with you. If I have a client project, I always wait until the last minute to finish it because I need that deadline for me to get it done in the first place. But I'm talking personal work. Should be the stuff you're excited to make, not the stuff that you procrastinate and you just start doing random fucking chores around the house and you're binge watching 3 seasons of a show you've already seen when you know you need to be working on that thing. Don's coming in with, I really need to hear this right now. I've been feeling super all over the place. I got you. I'm here for you. I'm so glad that we have this friendship so we can talk about these things. Because we're going to get into so many different kinds of topics with this weekly live streaming series. We're going to get into, of course, the common questions like pricing and usage rates and contracts and website design and all of the things in between. But often the things that I find that don't get talked about are these kinds of things, the more emotional stuff, the things that you're dealing with on a anxiety fucking just on a daily basis. And I hate that. And there's so much really good content out there, guys, from artists and creatives that are free and paid. But I really want this to be a place where we fucking cut the bullshit. We're ourselves and we talk about the things that we're really fucking struggling with and get really fucking into it. Because I love it. Okay. Number 5. This is a big one. Are you ready? You're the kind of person, again, this is the unhappiness checklist, that you spend more time planning than actually making. Right? I don't know if anyone that resonates, but that resonated with me hardcore. When you want to be an artist, you keep telling your friends you're an artist, and you have all these ideas for projects that you want to complete, but you never actually get around to doing them. This comes down to a lot of reasons that may or may not have anything to do with the topic of today, but in my personal experience, if I'm spending more time planning something than actually making, that means I'm not really excited to make it. That probably means that I'm making that product or project for the wrong reasons. I'm making it to get popular. I'm making it for sales, that kind of thing, where I know deep down in my fucking heart, this is the wrong thing for me to be doing. But then on the other hand, I have an idea for a project. I'll spend like an hour or something like that on planning, and it hurts to plan it because I'm just so excited about it. I just want to dive in. I want to fucking say fuck you to every other thing that was on my to-do list that day to make this one thing. That, my friends, is a good idea. That is the thing that is going to really fulfill you as an artist, and is probably going to be the next thing that goes fucking viral, and you're all fucking Miss Popular, and you get clients of your dreams, and you get a bunch of followers and all the validation that you want. But typically, if your intentions aren't pure, you're not going to get the results that you want. And of course, there are exceptions. There are people that know a guy. There are people that have a certain amount of experience that can cut the line. But for the rest of us, we gotta fucking work for this shit. And in my experience, and I keep saying that in my experience, this is really the only way to true fucking happiness as an artist, is it really has to come from within, man. Victoria, damn you, why are you always gonna call me out? You're so funny. Danny's coming in. Danny Dodge. I've been all over the place, she says, but I found that the idea just wasn't for right now. Yes, totally. Because, like, there are ideas that you have that you think might be good, but not right now. Like, there's always something more pressing that you want. And I think it's totally an amazing idea for every single time you get one of those ideas, write them down somewhere that, like, isn't in a sketchbook, somewhere probably on your phone or your computer, something that you can have access to on multiple devices. So that way, when you have nothing to draw that day and you have some free time, which that happens, I hear, you can go back to that list of ideas and try again. But it's normal for artists to have different seasons of passion, different things that they're focusing on. As much as we like to think that we're all multitaskers, we're very poor at it. We're very bad at it. We just have low attention spans. There's a difference. And typically we can do only our best work if we're doing one thing at a time. Believe me, I'm crazy. I'm the person who does like 10 projects at a time. But if you follow me on Instagram, it probably looks like I'm this like badass boss bitch that's got it all together, and I'm super productive and all this stuff, which I kind of am. I mean, but it only looks like I've done so much of my career because I've done so many different things. That doesn't mean that I was doing all those fucking things at the same time. I had, a season where I'm just focusing on conferences and talks and educational content. Then I have a season of focus where I'm really all about the art and I'm doing personal work and I want to come up with a poster series. And, sometimes you're just like really fucking poor and you really focus on client work, right? And that's okay. But again, if you're spending more time planning than you're actually making, there's something wrong. It's either some weird inner turmoil with yourself where you don't feel like you're good enough and everything you make is crap, which could be true and probably is true, but you remember you have to get through the muck in order to get lucky. Get with the luck. I was trying to make a weird, like, hand-lettered poster phrase, but it did not work. Damn it, rhyming is hard. Okay. Last but not least, unhappiness checklist. Okay. You ready? I feel like this is such a weird, vulnerable conversation that I'm essentially having with myself in my office. Okay. You hesitate to call yourself an artist to begin with. If you're the kind of person, you always have to use the word aspiring artist, or I'm just an artist. I'm just a designer. I'm just an illustrator. There's something wrong there. That means you're not really happy being the kind of artist that you currently are. But people who are on that path, they're doing what they love, they found their style, and more importantly, their voice, they have no fucking problem calling themselves an artist. Because they do it every fucking day. Now, there's a big difference between being a commercial artist and just being an artist. If you drew today, guess what? You're a fucking artist. But in your head, if you're having a problem saying that out loud, it's probably because of a deeper reason that I really want you to pause and think about, what are you doing now that feels bad? What are you doing now that feels right? Does nothing feel right? Then that probably means that you haven't found that thing yet. You need to do some soul searching, some experimentation to figure it the fuck out. All right. Good. Yes, I love Shauna. She's like, I keep a list so I don't forget. You have to. I have like an Evernote thing on my phone, guys. That's like, I don't even know, thousands of ideas for hand-lettered quotes and projects and all these things. I will never, and so much of it's so fucking crazy. I spent so much time on this. It's like 80% of it is stuff that I would never do. But something that I do like, that I recommend you guys trying, is you keep a list, you write it down, and you come back to it in a week. And see if you still like it. Get like, I use something called Todoist. I'll show it to you right now. You guys get to see my notes from this. I want to make this bigger. Oh, look how she do that. Fucking magic. All right, those are my notes. So this is Todoist. It's this little do that's in the back, and I have all of my things I want to be doing. Now, something you'll see is I have a lot of like quotes that are in here, and what I'll do is if I don't feel like that quote really resonates with me anymore, or that product, is I'll just go ahead and like move it. So I can just go ahead and be like, all right, I don't feel like doing this, so I can go ahead and click this and then postpone it to a different week or something like that. I really like this because if I notice myself hitting postpone on that to-do list multiple times, and it's something that's, you know, not something I have to do for patrons or for client work, and it's just something I'm doing personal, then that's a huge red flag telling me that I probably shouldn't do it because I'm just not feeling it. I'm not excited about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So again, this is called Todoist, To-Do, IST. It's totally free app. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. So, I like all these like dramatic pauses. It's for people who have really, really low attention spans to kind of freak out and make them uncomfortable. Something you need to know about me, I will just chill with you at a diner and not talk to you for 10 minutes, and I don't feel awkward at all. I am so not that person who's awkward. That feels awkward. I'm sure I'm awkward as fuck, but I don't feel awkward. So get excited about these pauses just to kind of like think about what I'm fucking saying to you, so we can connect and you can kind of be a badass motherfucking art bitch of your dreams. You know, the mistakes that I've made. I've made so many. Oh, Shauna. So she's saying her husband had a problem with calling himself an artist. Yeah, I totally feel that. A lot of people do. When I was teaching at this local art college here in Portland, Oregon, it's called PNCA. It's the Pacific Northwest College of Arts. And a lot of my students, and I taught there for a few semesters, they felt the exact same way. But that is okay. Like when you're in art school, for example, you of course you don't feel like an artist. You go to college to become an artist. And I totally get that perspective. But I feel like we can just cut all the shit and all the years of just going in the wrong way if we really think about what kind of art we could be making more of. Now, let's get into it. So we've talked about the happiness checklist, the unhappiness checklist, but Tina, how do I get on the right path? How can I focus? How can I feel like I can call myself an artist? Tell me of your ways. I got you. Right now, we're going to do it. All right, we're going to go over. It's almost been an hour for this live stream. I'm going to go a little bit over because this is the important part, right? And I've been giving you hints and suggestions along this roller coaster fucking live stream, but we're gonna get over it. We're gonna be really intentional right now. All right. How to get on the right path with your art. Timestamp 55 minutes and 59 seconds. Okay, number one. Exactly what I've been saying. Focus on just one series at a time, exploring a new theme. So if you're the kind of person, you haven't figured out your subject matter yet, you haven't found a message that you really resonate with, that's probably because you're too fucking scatterbrained, man. You're working on too many different things. You got shiny object syndrome. You let in people you follow online influence you just like a little bit too much. I want you to find a series. Pick a series of illustrations that you could do starting next week. And I want you to set a really realistic fucking goal. I'm going to draw 3 pieces or 1 piece a week of this series for the next month, right? I'm going to be kept accountable using social media. I'm going to tell people that this is the series I'm going to be doing, whether it's Instagram or Twitter. I have all these hiccups all of a sudden, or Facebook or YouTube or whatever it is. So that way you actually like, hey, world, I'm going to do this. There's nothing wrong if you bail, but for me, it does, the social pressure does fucking help. So when you're trying to figure out what kind of series you're making, I really want you to think back of what are the things that I like outside of art? Am I really the kind of active person? Do you love cycling or running or something like that? Is there a certain sport that you gravitate towards? Or are you like me? You're a fucking homebody. You love the couch, your booty's getting bigger and bigger, and you fucking love the jiggle. Or, right? Do you have a certain kind of interest in an industry that you really want to get hired for? Maybe you're, I don't know, a hand lettering artist that would really, really love to do more packaging for beer, right? Like, I know as a designer, I was like, I would love to do some beer packaging or something like that. Then if that's the kind of work you want to get hired for, then you should have a personal project where you're doing mock-ups of, like, go to your fucking local brewery or, like, fucking, I'm calling it an alcohol shop because I cannot remember what it's called. Bar. Liquor store. What the fuck? I'm broken, guys. I've been talking for too long. You go there, you check out, you look at the ugly fucking labels, the labels that are basic bitch, that don't have a really good type on them, that are ugly, and then you take those, you bring them home, and you remake them. You go ahead and you draw on your iPad or in your sketchbook, and you design something new for it. Print out the labels. Put it around the bottles that you bought, and post it. Right? Show the before and after. To me, as a potential client looking to hire someone like that, I need you to alleviate risk for me. I need to make sure that my money is well spent with you. So if that's the kind of client you're trying to attract, right? Then prove to me that you know what the fuck you're doing. Regardless if you've been paid to do it or not. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. I just need to know you have an established process, right? That you're going to do a good job. The more niche and focused you are actually on one service, the more likely you are to get hired for that service. So the same thing goes for if you're just doing this to find your own voice. If there is a certain kind of thing that's happening in the news right now that pisses you off, do a series on it. If there's a certain kind of message, something that you're personally struggling with, like self-love, body positivity, feminism, those types of things. Sorry, dudes. I know I'm not really talking to you right now. I said sports earlier. Okay? All right. And talk about that in a series. And really, really try. If you're a hand lettering artist, come up with your own phrases. If you're an illustrator, come up with your own universes, your own characters, your own backgrounds. You can Frankenstein shit. That's fine. Get inspired. Get multiple pieces of things. Like, again, I like the way this person does noses. I like the way this person does hair. I like the way this person uses this tittle of an eye or whatever the fuck. That's okay. It's okay to do that, but you're not copying from just one source. So you're actually able to use your beautiful imagination to create work. And again, this is all coming back to you focusing on just one thing, one series at a time, until eventually you find your thing. Okay. Number 2, on how to get on the right path. Repeat your favorite elements you like to include in your dream work. So, again, repeat your favorite elements you like to include in your dream work. So, whatever your dream work would be, like we use that beer label example, your dream work isn't always client work. Sometimes your dream work is doing, let's say, getting in galleries, doing shows, or maybe it's to make products and you really want to become, like, you want to start your own apparel brand, or you want to start making enamel pins. I actually got the cutest fucking enamel pins for my girl Mary Lou today. Look at it. It's like a little girl and she is the clouds. So cute. So if you want to be able to do something like that, I want you to go ahead, take all of your favorite elements in the dream work you want to create and make it. So if there is, a certain kind of style of art, like I really want to try abstract art, for example, me personally. And so I've been going and checking out exhibits online. I've been, following people on Instagram that do abstract art. And I'm like, okay, I want to do this for myself. Maybe it'll end up being client work. Maybe it'll end up being in a gallery, but I will never know unless I try it. So you can do it like that, or you can just legit take things that you love in real life and start talking about them and making them. Like, I really like fucking food. Specifically, I like sweets. So maybe I'll do a lettering project made out of candy, or maybe I'll go ahead and do a bunch of like weird puns around desserts. Like that one quote, like eat dessert first, life is short type of thing. I really actually like that quote, but whatever. I think these things could be kind of helpful for you guys, or really helpful. You're so funny. Oh my God. Fanzia. I want to see that redesign. Do it. Make it. All right. How to get on the right path, number 3. Create art based on how you see the world with one unified message. So again, this is all coming back to like how we can kind of explore different themes in our work at just once at a time. And these kind of steps are kind of breaking out what those things could be. I'm mostly repeating myself here. But so creating art based on how you see the world with one unified message. Again, are we talking about body positivity? Are we talking about just positive quotes? Are we saying like you're just a dark humor brute? Like you have an audience out there who is desperate for that kind of content, believe me, because we are saturated in the positive vibes on the internet. So it might be nice or have a change of pace and create the kind of content that you wish you saw in your own feed. How do you see the world? Is it fucked up? Is it a beautiful place full of sunshines and rainbows? Is there a lot of cruelty in it and misgivings and misguided people? What do you have to say about it? I know you have a fucking opinion. We all do. Right? Number 4, again, how to get on the right path. Do more of just what feels good, not just what other people like. Create the work that literally gets you excited. Don't just fall into that tunnel vision of just doing more what everyone else is doing. This is why you will never see me do a fucking internet prompt. I hate them. I think they're dumb. Like, unless it's something like, hey, it's Valentine's Day. Everyone's like, oh, happy Valentine's Day. And they're like sharing quotes of love or whatever. I think it's really funny to share something about like being single or something like that on Valentine's Day, or to make fun of Valentine's Day and kind of do the opposite of what everyone else is going to say. I'll never follow a prompt like, for example, like Good Type Tuesday, right? Every single Tuesday they give you a prompt. And that day, my feed is flooded with the same fucking quote over and over and over again. And you know what you're doing? You're a fucking sheep and you're just doing what everyone else is doing. And yes, there's different styles and different interpretations and how to create that phrase, but that phrase isn't yours. And I think there's something wrong. Obviously, I love Good Type, and I think Good Type Tuesday is a good idea, but I think, especially if you're trying to just practice and you just need something to fucking draw that day. But in the long scheme of things, in the art marketing way of thinking, you're doing something that everybody else is fucking doing. Why you're doing that? Like, you really need to be focusing on what makes you happy. Don't fall in the pitfalls of what other people are suggesting. You have to take the time to figure out what you want to be doing, what kinds of phrases you want to be sharing with the world, the kind of things that relate to you in your life and what you do. It is so much easier to grab from your own perspective than trying to guess what other people might like to see from you, because you have to guess, and often those guesses are very, very wrong. Dawn's coming in with, I did dirty rap lyric Valentine's the last 2 years. That's pretty amazing. I would double tap on that. I love that. That's awesome. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5. Take a social break to enjoy making without the pressure of validation. So maybe you're stuck in that Instagram loop. You're frustrated with it. Maybe right now you're not really using Instagram to make money. You're not really using it as an advertising channel. You're a hobbyist and you're just trying to grow a following. You're just trying to experiment with art. Maybe that's where you are right now in your artistic journey on this planet. Maybe that's where you're at. But if you notice that you're in the trap where you're too focused on the likes, you're too focused on the stats, the comments, the engagement, and it's hurting you and you cannot see past it. No matter what you do, it always comes back to, are people going to like this? Am I going to have to delete or archive this piece because not enough people liked it? That right there is a huge red flag that you were making for the wrong reasons. And you might have to do something drastic, like not fucking don't post on Instagram for a month. People do it all the time. Nothing bad has happened. The good news is when you stop posting on a platform, no one normally notices. People only remember to unfollow you when you post. So you're probably not going to lose followers. You're probably just going to stay this. You're just going to be like this. Nothing's going to happen. You might lose a couple. I don't know. But for the most part, in my experience, it's just like crickets. Nothing really happens. And if that's what you need to take a break, and remember, there was a time in your life that you weren't constantly on your phone. Remember that? I barely do. I think it was amazing, but I didn't take a picture of it and post it on Instagram, so I don't remember. I do think it's important that we all take social breaks, even if it's just for a few hours. But if you're the kind of person that you're just stuck in tunnel vision with Instagram, take a fucking break from it and really figure out your shit. And I promise when you come back, you're going to come back fucking fully loaded with like motivation to make the exact kind of art you were always meant to make. Okay, number 6, how to get you on the right path, right? Create, and now this is a real big one for me. So hopefully, I hope it's helpful. Okay, so create at the same time every day when you have the most energy. A lot of artists use the inspiration as a scapegoat. They go, I just didn't feel very inspired today, so I just didn't make anything. I have to be inspired in order to make great art. Oh my God, you sound like such a pompous asshole. I'd never want to follow you ever. What? No. What you need to be doing is creativity is a muscle. Just like when you first start working out, it hurts. You're going to be sore. You're going to feel embarrassed. It's going to get uncomfortable. But the more that you do it, the more you flex those muscles, the easier it gets. The same thing goes with creativity and inspiration. It's a fucking muscle. It's a muscle in your brain that you bend and that you move at will over time, and the more that you use it. Those of us who did some sort of daily art challenge know this very well. You went ahead, you created the same thing every day through rain or shine, or you're feeling bad, when you're feeling good, you fucking made it. And as you went through that series, it got easier and easier. And you're able to create your own inspiration without having to find that perfect picture on Instagram to copy or that motivational phrase on fucking Pinterest. You need to be able to really think about the time of days that you have the most energy. Are you the kind of person that is a morning person? Yo, freak. Where you'd like love waking up at 4 a.m. and you want to get a couple hours in before you have to go to your day job. Maybe that's the time of day that you really need to every single day work on your art at the same time. Or maybe you're a night owl and you have to wait until you've come home after work. Had a burp in there. You had dinner with your family, you put the kids to sleep, and maybe that's that quiet time when the house is still so you can actually hear your own fucking thoughts. Maybe that's the time of day you should be taking advantage of to make your art. I'm not saying this has to be like a 6-hour stint. A lot of people get a lot of things done in 30 minutes, I'm telling you. But if you're consistent, right, at the time of day that you're making that art that's so hard for you to make, you're more likely to build up that muscle mass, right? At first, it's going to be a little hard. It's going to feel a little awkward. You just got to fucking push through it. And once you create the kind of schedule for yourself, whether it's every day or it's a couple times a day or it's once a week, if that's all you fucking have right now, and that's fine. Life throws a lot of shit at you at a time, especially with a family and work and bills and all the adult responsibilities that I've come to loathe so much. But if you flex that muscle regularly, you will start to crave that routine. You will get easier and easier, and you'll be making the best artwork of your fucking life. All right. All right, guys, let's take a deep breath. That was a lot of information. Are we ready? Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. A lot of people are going to be like, Dina, I don't believe in that. And that's fine. And there's going to be a lot of people like, oh my God, that's the perfect thing. I needed to hear that. Awesome. Regardless, everything that I say in these live streams is my opinion and my personal experience. And all I want to do is help you. And I'm not trying to make money off of you. If you want to support me on Patreon, awesome. If you can't right now, that's totally fine. Keep your money. Feed your family. But regardless, everything I'm saying here is with the best intentions, and I really just want to see you succeed because there are so many clients and there's so many customers out there, and there's literally enough work to go around for now. When we start needing to get competitive, I'll let you know, but for now, we're a fucking community. We're in this together to help each other, right? All right, so we went over our hour live stream by about 9 minutes. But I always like to end these with a critique. So if anybody in the live chat wants to go ahead and give me your username on Instagram, I can go ahead and check out your work and give you a critique. Now keep in mind, you cannot post links in YouTube. I don't know. Just give me your username. I'll copy and paste it into the Gram. And we can check out some of your stuff. If there's like a recent post that you post that you want me to look at, we can do that. If you just want like a general overview on your Instagram to kind of look at your art and see if, hey, are you on the right path as an artist? Is there a unified message with your work? When I land on your page, do I get it? Is there some confusion? What's happening, right? Or if you just need some validation, just keep in mind, I am a hard critic, but I only give constructive criticism. So I'm not going to be like, oh my God, that's so bad. I'll just be like, hey, you should have tried this. What if you added that? What if you removed this? That kind of thing. Because critiques are important for growth, guys. It's important that we share our art with people. And we actually get more feedback than like, thumbs up emoji, fire. Oh my God, this is so good. Like, no, tell me what's wrong with it so I can improve, please. I'm not just looking for a big ego over here. All right, so we got Shauna. Let's get her in here. Boop, boop. All right, let's check you out. I follow you, girl. All right, so this is what I like to do. I like to skip your bio, even though I know you in real life. I'm trying to forget. I like to skip your bio, and I want to see what's the impression I'm left with when I only can see your work. Okay. All right, so something about Twitch. I actually really like it when people share their stories in their grid because it's usually really clear what you're offering or what you're doing, and I kind of like it. All right, so you do watercolor. I could tell that off the bat. You're drawing people and flowers. You're doing a mushroom series right now. That's cool. Using that glow portrait feature. I like it too. This is a really good piece. I like this one a lot. So I think for now, right now you have a pretty good message. It's like you're drawing women. It's very whimsical. You're doing a couple like traditional experiments right now with like shrooms for some reason. I'm kind of curious to like learn a little bit more. Like if I'm seeing these shrooms, like I have to click on this. Like, what is this? Here's another mushroom because I think it's pretty. Ah! Ah! I hate captions like this. Okay. No. Like, see, my dogs agree. They agree. They're like, oh, why does Shauna gotta be saying shit like that on Instagram? They're like very upset with you right now. Okay. So one thing I will say is when you are writing captions, oh, this is nice. This is a nice long caption. That's beautiful. Hey puppies. I know Shauna, she had a really, really bad caption. But we're gonna get through this together. I know. They won't stop. Okay. So something you always want to do when you're writing captions, guys. Puppies, shut the fuck up. You're being really mean to Shauna. She doesn't deserve this hate. Come on. I'm so sorry, Shauna. Okay. What you really need to be focusing on here in captions is you have to give more information than just, look what I made today, or isn't this pretty, or isn't this fun? Which I'm sure you make things for fun, but like give me more context. Like I'm loving this combination of clean digital lines and watercolor gradients. I love combining digital with analog. That's better. We're getting a little bit closer, but you always need to, like, when you're writing to a community of people who are supposed to be supporting you, you want to come from a position of, why should you fucking care? Why do I care about this mushroom experiment? Get a little bit deeper for me. Like, let me connect with you. Because you also have to think, like, if you're really expecting engagement or comments on Instagram, you need to give me a reason to comment. Just by looking at this and you're saying, hey, I'm loving this combination, blah, 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 you're leaving me only really one choice of a comment, which is like, this is cool. Heart emoji. Like, I don't really feel like an emotional connection to it. Now, if you were to go in to say like, hey guys, I've been feeling really frustrated lately with my art, so I'm just drawing these shrooms just as practice. How are you guys enjoying them? Are you digging this kind of watercolor technique that I'm doing and with the thick lines? Is there anything random that you draw when you're bored? That is so much more engaging. That's much more of a story that tells me why, more importantly, that you made this piece and the message behind it. And sometimes the message behind a lot of our artwork is, I just wanted to fucking try this and see what happened. And I think that's really relatable. So I think something moving forward is, first of all, I don't really know what you're offering because there's no mock-ups in here for me to be able to tell. Right now, I'm just seeing like a lot of overhead shots of work, and I'm forced to think this is just personal work, which it might be. So let's scroll up and see what you're actually offering. Fantasy artist and illustrator, rolling hard in the paint, live streaming everything. You give your Twitch link and then more stuff. Okay, cool. So I'm assuming you're doing this all for fun and you're not expecting payment in any way, shape, or form because you haven't proven to me that you're wanting payment. You're not talking about commissions. You're not showing me mock-ups. Like if you, let's say you want to offer commissions doing this kind of stuff, right? Where you will draw a person or a family member or something like that. Then what would really make sense is if you had more photos of like this piece actually like printed, or like if you did an original composition like on the paper that you did it on, like holding it up, or even better, there's like the person who bought it holding it up, so that way it's like, wow, this is really clear that she offers commissions. The same thing for a lot of us is like, hey, we're illustrators and artists, we can make anything, but if you're doing client work, you really have to be specific on the kind of service that you offer. So it's like, if, you know, I could have an illustration and it could easily be on a billboard as it could a t-shirt design. But if you frame it as a mock-up and actually see it on a t-shirt or actually see it on a billboard, that paints a much clearer picture of what you offer and what I can hire you for. So some things to keep in mind. As an aesthetic, I think it looks great. The work is fine. I think you could work on your captions a little bit. I've only looked at a few of these, but typically I always like to make my captions like at least 3 paragraphs long, not only to have my message resonate with my audience, but also for the algorithm. When someone hits that read more link on Instagram, right, that is an engagement, right? They clicked a link, they clicked the thing to open and see the rest of your caption. So that is a positive point. Let's call it a positive point, right? So if more people do that in the first hour, then Instagram is going to show your content to more of your audience. So definitely writing only helps you. And sometimes it helps me figure out my own shit. Like sometimes I'll just make a piece just for shits and giggles, and I won't really be able to dissect what that piece means or why I made it until I write a caption about it. Shauna's like, I've always been afraid to get it too in-depth with Instagram, but I'm working on that. For sure, yeah. But it's like little things to keep in mind. Like I'd love to see, I think in here, I'd love to see more close-ups. I love to see more process shots of like your hand maybe in the photo and seeing how you make it. Maybe some time-lapse videos to see more about your process. That's the kind of stuff that I would like as a fellow artist. And I also think time lapses are a very good idea, very, very good idea for the rest of the world. It proves that artwork takes time and we're not fucking printers. And it takes multiple hours, if not days or weeks, to complete a project. So therefore, it makes more sense where I have a higher value and a higher price tag when people want to hire me. So that way no one's expecting $20 logos from me. You know what I'm saying? All right. Did anybody else give their... Okay, so we have Victoria. She gave her handle. Let's go and check her out. All right. I already saw it. It's very short. Lettering, illustration, design. Okay. So lettering, digital lettering, because I see iPad. Boo to my... Okay, so I see the Halloween theme thing. This cake thing that never got finished yet. Hello, Autumn. All right, so I see a lot of signage in here, a lot of chalk signage. So this makes me think that's what you offer for client work. So that's really clear. You also do murals. So there's a picture of you fucking doing a mural. Okay, so from my perspective, I'm interpreting, because that's a word. I'm seeing your grid that you are a professional hand lettering artist. You do signage and murals. And that those are the kind of services that you offer. You're a professional. You obviously have shown a consistency of doing this kind of work. And as far as the subject matters go, I don't really see a pattern. So I see like you working with restaurants, okay? Talking about baking and like cute little things, cute little like ways, like cute little fucking phrases and stuff. But I don't really see a theme. But you just started this. So there's our first post. Here, I'm going to like it. I'm going to like your first post. Boom. Okay. So I would probably work on, from your perspective, is like, okay, is there a certain kind of client you always like to work with? Like, do you really just want to specialize in like the beer and food industry? Are you looking more for like natural health and organic foods, which is like an even more of a niche of the chalk signage kind of thing? Do you only offer chalk signage and paint? Do you offer other services? That kind of thing. As far as like the general message, I get a really clear professional vibe, but the only thing that I'm missing is I don't have a message. And I think it's totally fine for artists to just be like, I'm really focused on client work right now, and I really don't want to do any personal work, and I really, really don't want to do like products or anything. That's totally cool. I think though that there's room for all of those things, and I think it's very important that artists create diverse revenue streams for themselves. So that way, if the clients stop calling, there are other ways for you to make work. So that being said, if you are more client focused right now, I definitely would urge you to create work more with a unified message or a series so that way you can gain an audience, which is social proof for clients. And also, they might want to buy things with those things on them. So like mugs and t-shirts and posters and enamel pins and hats and socks and baby clothes and all the things. So I think, so let's actually like dive into like one of these actual captions. Boop, 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 boop. Halloween is around the corner, so buckle up for a scary story. Only 22% of young people voted in the midterms in 2014. That is a scary story. Girl, I feel you. So this is great. I love this piece. Did it get any good engagement? Ooh, it's pretty good. For only 400 followers, that's pretty good. This one's like, I remember this snack. Can you guess the theme of my new illustration series? Nice. So you're taking Lauren Holmes' class? Oh, okay. So you're not going to tell me what your illustration series is on, but you want me to guess. Oh, I don't like when people do that. I hate when... If you really want comments, you usually have to be very specific with people. But I wonder what people guess. What did people guess? Yeah, people are just like, I'm excited to learn more. I'm like reading. I don't see anyone actually guessing. Did no one guess? That's so funny. That you like, when you ask a question on social media and then no one actually answers your question, typically that's because you weren't as very specific with your question. So if you really want to get engagement in terms of asking a question and expecting responses, the best way to do is to make it the easiest fucking possible thing for someone to do because people are lazy. So it's like, hey, which color should I use? Red or green? And then you have like the slider showing that piece in red or green, and then people can just type red or green. So with this, instead of being like, oh, can you guys guess what my project is about, I probably would have used this opportunity to launch the product, because anytime you create a new series, it always does really well as a post in my experience. So that's why I'm like such a huge fan of like creating all these different series all the time, because they always do well, because people like to see, oh, a new shiny thing. Same reason why brands have been for years adding that sticker that says new on stuff, because our brains are like, shiny thing? I've never seen that before. It's the same thing. I would have been like, I think a better question would have been like, what was your favorite treat in your lunchbox as a kid? Like, oh, that's very specific. That triggers a memory that actually gives me a reason to respond. So I think this is a great graphic and everything. I just feel like you could have gotten more engagement by asking a different question. But I'm excited to learn more about your series. That's cool. So for the most part, I just wanted to kind of give you like, this is my general impression of your work. And it seems like your caption game is strong. Except for this. Made something tasty today at work. It got 183 likes, so that's good. I just would have been more interested, like, is this for work? Are you doing this on your lunch break at work? Is this for fun? Like, I want to learn more about it. Like, I'm curious. I want to know what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. Victoria's like, yeah, I have a lot of here's this captions. I know, it's the basic bitch of all fucking captions. You gotta get over it and try to give me a little more bang for my buck. My time buck, if I'm gonna like your thing and look at your fucking caption, you make it worth my while. Like, make me feel connected to you. Because the thing is, like, we follow so many people on social media, right? That it's so hard to remember them. Like, I have so many conversations where I'm like, oh, that reminds me of so-and-so's work. And I don't even remember their name. And that's because so many artists that are very fucking talented, that are more talented than I'll ever be, have shitty marketing. Because they don't know how to talk about themselves, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing either, and they're just faking it like the rest of everybody. And it's so hard to remember them because they gave me no reason to connect. But then on the other hand, there are certain artists that have one fucking theme in their work. They're really, really fucking intentional, and they have that one message that just relates to me so fucking hard. I'm never going to forget their name. I'm never going to forget what they look like or what their avatar looks like. I'm always going to want to engage with their content, and I'm like a fucking loyal ass fan. But it's so hard to get those loyal ass fans if you're not giving them a reason to connect with you, because you're just saying, here's this, without actually saying why or how. I think that's really, really important. All right, there's one other person, Molly. All right, let's get to you, and then we'll wrap up the stream, okay? Because I went I'm going to go 30 minutes over for you people. I hope you love it. Is this you? No, you're the one without the underscore. So this is without the underscore. This is with the underscore. So you're without the, so this is you. Okay. I just want to be, I'm like, there's two. Oh, what is this? All right, what's this? What is this? I'm excited. Brittany is ready for prom. Oh my god, she looks so pretty in her sheet. Brittany is eating pizza today because she ate 2 salads this week. And so it's just like a ghost that does different things. Oh no, Brittany is at 10% and is lost. All right, what is this series? All right, let's actually read it. Meet the hottest ghoul in Brooklyn. Her name is Brittany, and she haunts my building. That's kind of cute. Brittany can't wait for tango class tonight. This is such a cute series. Like, you could tell, like, tickled me. I was like, it's funny. I love it. Are you getting more engaged? Okay, so it's hard for me to tell because when you have a video, you always normally get more views than you do likes. So if you actually look at your insights, if you have upgraded to a business profile where you can get analytics on your Instagram, like, I'll get like 2,000 views, but I'm lucky to get like 200 likes on videos. So I'm curious to know what your actual engagement is. But aside from the series that you're doing, so you do a lot of animation because all these are like videos. What's happening? Oh, there it goes. Oh, it's a kitty cat. Where's this one? This is fun. What did this one do? Burn, baby, burn. I don't get it. Damn it, give me more context. I want more context. I'm so mad. I want to know what it means. Pickle Rick. I love it. I like this illustration style. This illustration is super cute. I love it. Making a goal to not buy any new clothes for a year. So instead of buying new shirt, there's supposed to be an A in there, I'll be illustrating some of my favorite outfits. That's cute. That's a really cute idea. Like illustrating your favorite outfits. That's really nice. So you have a really nice design aesthetic. Like your illustration style is on point. I really like it. I think you could have, like, I can tell that you just kind of got serious by your art because like there's a lot more lifestyle photography than art. And then as I scroll up, it gets more and more arty as I go. I think there's a really good way to balance it. Like if you look at my profile, you'll notice that it's like, I have like this really nice checkerboard effect where it's like, okay, here's a lifestyle photo, which is like a picture of me doing something. And then here's a process photo of a project. And here's the final static image of that product. And then here's, a photography shoot of a new product that I'm making or whatever. And I stagger it because people have a really hard time remembering you because we do all these things, but it's easier for them to remember if you're consistent about it. And also it looks better in the grid because honestly, I think all these ghost images that are like, I'm looking at you. I know they're like 90% the same. I mean, it's easier to get them out daily doing animation. I feel you. But it's not so interesting when I look on your bio, right? Like if I actually click on your profile and just seeing all these pink boxes, I'm curious, definitely like, oh, what was that? But I would have liked it so much more if you were like checkerboarding it with other stuff that you were producing. So that way I still get an idea of who you are outside of this project. Right? I really think that's important because there's obviously lots of things that we promote about ourselves, or hopefully you guys are like, hey, I want you to follow me. I also want you to give me money through XYZ. I'm looking for clients. I'm selling this product. Join my Patreon, subscribe to me on YouTube, whatever. There's probably some sort of other call to action in there. And it's really, really hard for me to tell just by looking at your feed. So I would like to see a little bit more collaginess in here. Just like, as far as what you offer, because your description is so vague, you have your name, lean, mean drawing machine. So to me, with just based off your thing, if I was like a really dumb client, I would just assume that you don't do client work and that you're just doing personal work. Because if you straight up don't put something that says like now available for client work or now open for commissions, people are just going to assume this is all for yourself. You're just making personal work. So if you don't want client work, like, yay, mission accomplished. But I'm just saying, like, if that is something you're interested in, like, I want to see more process shots. I want to really fully understand the services that you offer, maybe some behind the scenes and how you're doing some of these animations. That's always something that I think is really important, is proving your value by showing the fucking work that it takes to get that shit done. I think is so valuable, especially since animation takes longer than illustration and therefore has more value, but very few people think that because you're making it seem so seemingly easy online by presenting only the final work. So I do feel like you're hurting yourself and the rest of the industry by making it look too simple. And that's something that we don't really think about. So I would encourage you to, again, collage this shit together and have a more meaningful caption. Like, I want to know, what do you offer? Do you offer anything? Are you just doing this for fun? Then write for fun. If you want me to hire you for client work, tell me what kind of work to hire you for. Is it for advertising? Is it for editorial? Are you making other people's Instagram content? Like, be specific. So that way, when I land on your profile, I feel like immediately, this is the person I want to follow. This is the person I've been looking for. Or are you just another person that I just can't connect with? Because I don't know what you're offering, and you're not really giving me a reason to follow you, aside from just being impressed by the general aesthetic of your work. Because Instagram is so competitive, you typically need to do more than that. And these are all things that I go over on my Instagram class, and I really fucking break it down for you guys. My Instagram class is closed. We're actually doing the last class tomorrow, which is Thursday. But my Instagram class for artists is going to be made available to the public next month. My fiance Rick is actually working on editing those videos now for you. So if you guys are interested in learning more Instagram techniques, definitely consider being on the lookout for that. If you're a patron, you get an automatic discount for that and any other product you'd ever love to buy from me. As an extra thank you for supporting me on a monthly basis. But it's a really good course. It's like 16 hours of content. Everyone who's been taking the class is thrilled with it. And you also get to hang out with me in a very special Discord chat while you're taking the class. You can get feedback on your work along the way. So keep your eyes open on my Instagram and my Patreon for more information on when that is coming out, because it's going to be amazing. And now it won't just be limited to 30 students. Now anyone can take it whenever they want, because that's the power of the internet. Okay. We did it. We've been streaming for an hour and 33 minutes and 30 seconds and 31 seconds and 32 seconds. I feel like we killed it. Look at us being fucking champions of our art. I really, really hope this content was helpful for you. Thank you so much to everyone who stuck around to the very bitter end, and those of you who are watching in the future. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to me, and also please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/lettershop, so that way you get monthly workbooks to learn new styles of hand lettering, and you get to hang out with me on a weekly basis tackling topics, things that you're actually fucking struggling with right now. And I'm super hella responsive, so if anyone ever has any questions for me, you can leave them in the comments below on both this YouTube video and on Patreon, or most likely also Instagram. I'm really nice. You just gotta reach out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me during today's live stream. You're fucking champions of my fucking heart. I super fucking appreciate you. And thank you so, so much for being my friend on the internet. I'll see you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.